Okay, so in this video, we will just cover the basics of Python, especially conversions, and one important question of checking if the value is zero, positive or negative. So let's start with this page. It's page number 20, and it is the conversion of kilometers to miles. So actually, it's just like a calculator, conversion calculator, in which you are asking the user that give me the value in kilometers, and I'm going to convert it into miles and give you the output. So let's understand the basics first. We have two screens when it comes to programming. One is the programming screen and one is the output screen. Let me rotate. Okay, so one is the programming screen and one is the output screen. So for example, you are using the calculator, a normal calculator. What you do, you give the values and you get the result. You do not know what's going behind the screen. So this is the output screen where you can just put the values and get an answer. Whereas the programming screen is something that you are concerned with now since you are writing the program. So basically all the programmers write their program on this screen. For example, how the calculations will be performed. I will ask the user to enter values, just for example. So this is something that I'll do in my programming screen. A equals to input, enter value. So it's actually the coding is over here, whereas the user will just get the result, the output as enter values, and then he will just enter the values. What's wrong? Okay. All right. So the user doesn't know what's going behind the screen. So this is the basic concept how Python program or any programming language works. Now over here, the thing that we have is conversion calculator of kilometers to miles. So first, you definitely need the value in kilometers. Over here, what we are given is kilometers is actually a variable. Just like in maths, we use different variables. So over here, we need to have any variable. Now you can also write as k, m, a, b, x, y. Variable can be up to whatever you like. Over here, it's a meaningful name. It's complete kilometers. Now equals to float. What is the purpose of float? It is used to store decimal values. For example, the user gives 35.6. Convert 35.6 into miles. This is what the user wants. So that is why we are going to assume it as float value. Okay, next is input. Input is a keyword which is used to store the value. Store the value inside a variable. And this in whatever written in the inverted commas and brackets, this is actually the output that is going to be shown on the screen. So this is the output screen again. Okay, and over here the first thing that will appear is enter value in kilometers. This is what the user will see, and then the user will give us any value, for example, again 30.5. Okay, next we have to tell the conversion factor to the computer, which is 0.621371. This is the standard conversion factor when it comes to calculating kilometers to miles. Next, we have to put in the formula. So step 1, variable. Step 2, the conversion factor. Step 3, the formula. Step 4, the output. These are the 4 basic steps. So for the formula, it's again the basic maths formula. Miles equals to kilometers multiplied by conversion factor. So miles is another variable in which the actual answer will be stored. Kilometer is the same variable that we're using over here, and conversion factor, which we have just assumed over here. Now we can also write it in this way. Miles equals to kilometers multiply by, this is the multiplication sign in computer, multiply by 0.621371. So actually rather than giving the value first, we can also write it directly. It's totally up to you. Coming forward, now we have the print. The print function is actually used to show the output on the screen. Again, in order to show the result on this screen, I need to write the function of print. Now let's make this easy. I don't expect you to write this. This is very elaborative. So you can also write print the value in miles is inverted commas close, comma, our actual variable, which is miles. So what will happen is that over in this space, the value that is being calculated will be put over here. So whatever the answer will be stored in miles, for example, it has 10.62. So over here, automatically on the output screen, we will have the value in miles is 10.62. Okay. So this is what the program does. Okay, let's move forward. Next, we have the program to calculate the area of a triangle. Now, this is very simple. We are going to take three values since there are three sides of a triangle. A, B, C. You can also again rename the variables as X, Y, Z, side 1, side 2, whatever suits you. Now, we will have, okay, over here, we have actually given the values ourselves. But in case we have to take the values from the user, then we will use the same thing as the previous one. A equals to float, input, enter first side, enter second side, enter third side. So making it clear again, over here, we have assigned the values ourselves. Over here, we are asking the user to please enter the sides of the triangle. Now, just apply the formula again. S equals to A plus B plus C, bracket 2 means it all will be added, all the sides will be added and then divided by 2. This will calculate the semi-perimeter. And then for the area, we have this formula. Again, you will put it in as it is. And 0.5, you can also write it as this, but I would recommend you that you write in decimals. And same, print function would be the same as the previous one. No need to write this much elaborative print functions. You can, it's not incorrect, but it's just that I'm telling you the easier method. Okay, moving forward. Celsius to Fahrenheit is exactly the same as kilometers to miles. Only the formula would change a little. Else everything is same. So let's move towards our last page. This one is important. Now, how to convert, how to actually check if a number is positive, negative, or zero. So I hope that you're good at maths. So let's see the number line. On the number line, we have 0 in the center, right? So all the numbers that are greater than 0 are positive, and all the numbers that are less than 0 are negative on this side. Okay, so we have this logic with us. Now what is this? If, elif, else. So just like English, if else, that if you get marks greater than 35, you will pass, else you will fail. मतलब या ये होगा या वो होगा. इसी तरह से in Python we have three functions. If, this elif is actually else if. This is a combination of else and if. We did this in copy as well. So elif is a short form. So if the number is greater than 0, first we are asking the user to enter a number. So we have a variable again, float, enter a number. The user will give, for example, 10. Okay. If the number is greater than 0, colon, this is the complete syntax that you have to write in case you are missing the colons, you're making this capital, obviously your marks will be deducted. So this is a syntax that you have to remember, that the I will be small, the P will be small, and there will be a little space for print, similarly over here and similarly over here. Okay, so moving back to the code. Okay, what I was telling, yeah, so we have a number 10, and now what will happen if the number is greater than 0? So is 10 greater than 0? That is true. The computer will compute it, means calculate it, and it's true. So the answer on our screen will be positive number. Now, for example, the user gave the number 0. So what will happen? If number is greater than 0, means if 0 is greater than 0, this will be false, right? So it will not execute the statement. It will come to this statement. Else if number is double equals to 0. Now double equals to and equals to. Let's see what's the difference. If I write 5 is double equals to 5, this is true. Why? My left hand side is equal to my right hand side value. Means both of the values should be same. This is the work of the double equals to sign. It is a comparison operator. Now, for example, if I write 0 is double equals to 5. So what do you think the answer is? Of course, it's false, since the values are not same. Now coming towards the equals to sign. What it does is, it just assigns the value. So for example, I write A equals to 5. So what happens is that 5 is stored inside the variable A. Okay, so this is the assignment operator. It is used to assign values. This is the comparison operators. It is used to compare two values on both hand sides. Okay, let's go forward. Now, the second statement, elif num is double equals to 0. So is 0 double equals to 0? Yes, true. So the output will be 0. All right. Now let's say if the value that the user has given us is -5. So again the program will run. It will check each statement. Is -5 greater than 0? No, it will not execute the statement. Elif, is minus 5 double equals to 0? Not again. It's going to ignore the statement again. Else, now obviously if it's not a positive number, if it's not a 0, then it's definite it's a negative number. So for this we do not have to write the complete condition. We will just write else colon print negative number. Okay, so this is all that we had to cover. For odd and even, one more small concept. Let's go through that and then we'll just wind up. Again, now we have to check that the given number by the user is odd or even. So we will use the modulus operator. Now what happens, for example, I ask you to divide let's do 5 by 2. Okay, so now what will happen? 2 2s are 4 and 1, right? So if I ask you to calculate this, you will give me the answer 2 or maybe 2 point something, 2.5, right? What happens in modulus operator, we check the remainder value. This is the quotient value, this is the remainder value. When we are dividing, we check the quotient value. But when we are using the modulus operator, we use the remainder value. Okay, so let me give you another example. If it's 7 and 3, so 3 2s are 6, 1. So over here, what will the modulus calculate? The answer will be 1 again. Okay, so modulus will check the remainder and not the upper value. Okay, so this is the logic of modulus operator. Now how it will be used in our program. So again, num equals to input, enter a number. Again, the user needs to give us a number. Now for example, the user entered the number 5. Okay, so what will happen? The if condition is if the number modulus 2 is double equals to 0. So it will first put the value 5 modulus 2, calculate the answer. Now if the answer is 0, double equals to 0, it means it's true. So it will execute this statement. And if the answer is false, it will execute the second statement. So let's just perform the calculations once. Again, the user gave us 5. So 5 modulus 2. 5, 2. So this is the answer. Do we have the remainder as 0? 0 equals to 0. But what do we have over here? We have 1, right? 1 is double equals to 0? No. It means it will just print that the number is odd. Okay? And in case it is 4. Okay? The user gave us 4. So 4 modulus 2. What is the remainder? The remainder is 0. So now 0 is double equals to 0? True. So it will execute this statement and it will ignore this statement. I hope this might have cleared lots of queries that you had in mind. So all the very best. I hope you will ace the exam. And documents for your purpose and Python is included in your practical, whereas all 3 is included for your Viva and your theoretical exam.